At one moment, Keith Nilsson is ingesting a lighted tube. At the next, he's a tramp clown. His longtime partner, Stephanie Monseu, not only cracks a mean whip, she also calls the shots on this not-your-everyday circus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bindlestiff Family Circus!
Unlike the traditional American circus, this New York-based show takes on many different forms, both big and small. For example, 2 audiences at a private Connecticut prep school witnessed diverse acts such as a cigar box stacker, a contortionist, a slackwire juggler, a troupe of basketball-playing unicyclists, and a 5-piece band whose musical tastes were just about what one could expect from such an unorthodox undertaking. In short, trying to apply a one-size-fits-all description to the Bindlestiff Family Circus is virtually impossible, beginning with the show's title.
Circus with a K, although we honor the traditions of circus and appreciate all the history of vaudeville and sideshow and circus and burlesque and everything that came before us. Unlike a lot of other arts organizations, I think Bindlestiff, although nonprofit, operates more like a true circus in the sense that we've always been mostly funded by ticket sales and merchandise.
I mean, I've always thought of Bindlestiff as kind of the Cartoon Network of circus. By day, we do family-appropriate material, and as the sun starts to set, things can get a little racier.
From the first time they performed together some 20 years ago, Stephanie and Keith have made a living as nonconformists.
You know, like I said, have Bindle will travel. The Bindlestiff name refers to the bundle and the stick that the hobo uses when he's on the road, so we're willing to follow the sawdust trail wherever it leads us. I'd say we were variety artists. I wouldn't call us buskers. We tried street performing once and realized that it's hard. It's really different than working on a stage and in a controlled environment.
We perform at everything from beautiful theaters such as this to the dirtiest punk rock dive you could ever imagine to in LA, we played the person's attic bedroom.
Festivals, schools, colleges, outdoor events, private parties, bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, birthday parties, dog christenings. We've done it all. In this business, you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to take the job when we're not on the road or when we're not booked into a beautiful theater. We're waiting for that call that says, can you be at the bank opening on stilts for 2 hours? Well, yes, I can.
Disparate childhood experiences influenced the career paths of this showbiz couple.
I was always a ham. One of my earliest memories is building a set in the living room, a replica of the Star Trek Enterprise, and acting out all the different roles because that was my favorite show. I was a competitive athlete from the age of 7. All through junior high school, I was part of the theater department. I had a band.
Way back when I was probably about 9 years old, my family took me to a Mexican mud show that it was passing through Mocksville, North Carolina. And I don't remember too much about the whole circus show, but they had the elephant dog. You could pay 25 cents and go see the elephant dog. So, we paid our 25 cents, went behind the wall, and there was a dog that had been shaved. And it was at that moment that I realized that you could shave a dog and make a living.
That Bindlestiff performances are laced with sideshow acts is no accident.
One of, I'd say, the most instrumental parts of me being an entertainer was spending time working for Ward Hall's World of Wonders to be the blockhead and sword swallower for Ward's show. He told me what day the show started, so I showed up on that day and learned that we still had 3 more days to put up the tent. So for Ward, I learned how to put up a tent, how to tie knots, and not to walk by the fat man's truck because he'll be throwing his pee out the window, and learned about living on the carny lot. Worked harder than I've ever worked in my life for less than I've ever made.
Well, I worked for Ward Hall in the World of Wonders as well, and I was out on the Valley stage eating fire while with Petey sometimes. I was walking on broken glass, 15, 25 times a day. I was living in the van behind the show front. Some of the best heckle lines I ever learned, I learned on that show, because you're working in front of a rough group of people who have been drinking beer all afternoon under the hot sun, and they've got stuff to say. It is not like working in a theater. It's more like street performing, where you really need to control the environment, control the crowd.
Adapting to situations beyond their control is an ever-present reality for these troopers.
During 2001, in the first war in the Gulf, when the economy totally tanked, we had Buckaroo Bindlestiff's Wild West Gender Bender Jamboree, which was an off-Broadway show that had 20 performers, full circus band, and we're losing about $10,000 a week on it because it was right after 9/11 and audiences were scared to leave their house.
In spite of all the uncertainties, Stephanie and Keith remain optimists.
Really excited about the future of Circus. We feel like we're part of the future of Circus. I work with kids. I am encouraged about the next generations of Circus in the United States.
We do a lot of work with youth, and like just last week, the two of us were running a circus camp in the city. We have Bindlestiff's Cavalcade of Youth, which is a showcase of young talent. It's basically a Bindlestiff show, except for the fact that everybody on the stage from the MC onward is under the age of 21.
And they come from really great youth circus programs from all over the East Coast. So it's a really great coming together and an opportunity for young people who are interested in circus and interested in performing to be able to meet with each other, see each other perform, see what kind of different opportunities there are, and get some mentorship from professional artists.
Attracting circus goers, especially a younger generation, places additional demands on roving bands like the Bindlestiff Family Circus.
You've got to have a Facebook page, you've got to have a Twitter page, you've got to have all these different MySpace and all these different social networking sites, in addition to being able to send out electronic press kits and direct people to websites which you continuously have to update and keep fresh. You've got to have footage on YouTube, you've got to have great people writing press for you and sound bites and blurbs, and that's a full-time job that when we first started booking national tours 15, 17 years ago, we were easily able to do everything ourselves. Not easily, but we did it. We have all the same challenges that anybody else does, whether they're traveling under canvas or moving from theater to theater.
First of all, I don't know how to do anything else other than juggle and entertain the masses. Nor do I really desire. I mean, I feel that live entertainment in 2012 is one of the most important things, one of the most radical things to be getting out there. We're now dealing with a society that wants to have a screen between them and every experience. And knocking down that screen and having one-on-one, I see you, you see me, is a magic moment that better never be lost. I mean, the day that that's lost, I feel humanity is lost.
Reporting from Simsbury, Connecticut, I'm Lane Talburt. See you at the circus.